Go. Keep.
Well, I don't know whether to be proud of myself or disappointed in myself. Hey you, it's Olivia. Welcome back to another one of my videos, or welcome if you're new. Thank you so much for clicking in. I like to talk about pretty much my life, which right now is travel stories and budget living and a trip I'm about to be going on to Iceland, so definitely stick around if you want to hear more about that. Like, stick around for the channel. Today we're actually just going to be talking about life and, time management, and the Iceland trip is a little bit of a theme here. Because basically I'm a workaholic, and up until recently I was working like 70 hours a week. Yeah, like between 70 and 80 hours a week. It was pretty insane. I had one day off to just try to like quickly reset everything, and essentially within a month and a half of that I burned out because I was also working two jobs in between two different cities. That's a whole other story. But basically I'm from Tennessee and I'm travel nursing down in Alabama, and I have a 4-hour drive between, about a good 4-hour drive between the locations for the two jobs, and their night shift, so that already whacks your life that you're trying to have outside of work too. I was doing that pretty intense schedule because basically I have really big financial goals. I had basically already saved up for the Iceland trip, but I have a really big trip I want to go on like towards the end of this year into next year, and I was trying to save up extra money for it. You can argue that a good little bit of that went into gas money driving between two cities that are 4 hours apart, but it still did math. It even still kind of maths with me having dropped down to one shift a week up there, but not quite as much. I just could not keep up. Basically what happened was I had to drop down from my 72 hours because I overslept one day from exhaustion. Luckily I still made it into work, but that was terrifying, and the place that I was that I was late to has a very strict late policy to where if that happens even basically 3 times, you're probably gone. And if you ever were to sleep in long enough for them to put you down as a no-call, no-show, which means they think that you are not coming to work and you didn't call to give any notice, they will just cut you completely. And I'm like, this is getting too dangerous. I have to change something. So I went ahead and dropped myself down to, whereas before I was working 4 shifts a week down here in Alabama and 2 up in Tennessee, I dropped myself down to 1 in Tennessee and kept it at 4 in Alabama. I was actually able to kind of manage it. I didn't have much going on outside of work. I actually started my YouTube journey while I was still on the 60 hours a week between 2 different cities. So that was interesting. But I was making it work. The only problem was I didn't really have enough space to actually be preparing for this trip, and now the trip is in 2 weeks. Oh my gosh. And so I was just like, okay, yeah, something has to give, because no amount of money in the world is going to make up for me not having what I need to go on this trip and not being able to really enjoy the trip. I'm already forfeiting going to the gym like I usually like to do, especially when I'm getting ready for trips like this, so that I can, actually properly enjoy hikes and everything. I've just been taking the stairs at work whenever I can. It's not the same, but I hope it does something for me. Anyways, I was just like, okay, I'm making the 60 hours work, and if I wasn't imminently planning an international trip where I have to do a bit of careful packing and everything, it would probably be fine to continue indefinitely. I was really trying to hold out because, okay, I'm going to put a disclaimer. I am not saying specifically what my income is, especially not for my travel nursing job, because my agency has not cleared me to do that, and I would like to continue working with them. But basically the way it breaks down is that I would be losing more or less $500 a week if I decided to drop down to the 3 days a week. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to do that, because I kept doing the math of how much I would lose if I dropped down X number of weeks before, and it worked out to where I was like, okay, it's going to be $1,500 if I drop down to 3 days a week the last 3 weeks, but that $1,500 is not going to help me if I don't have the proper boots and everything I need when I'm in Iceland and I'm freezing my butt off. So that was kind of what it boiled down to. So I decided that kind of as a celebration and also an accountability exercise, I would take you along with me on my first little weekly vlog for my first week ever working 48 hours since I picked up my second job, which I picked up back in, it was like late April, May. So for the first time in the summer, doing just 48 hours. And that's actually still a little bit overtime by American standards, US American. Anyways, I posted that vlog first. It's up over here if you want to check it out. I don't imagine it's very long. At the time of filming this, I haven't actually edited it down yet. So we will see. And honestly, looking back at my week, I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, okay, I feel like I mostly just took the extra time and slept, which, I mean, I do need. Actually, let me check something real quick. Okay, so I want to include this in my vlog too. I need to make myself a little note about that. But I was keeping up with how much sleep I was getting because I was like to beyond exhaustion between like all the driving I was doing and trying to keep up with the YouTubing and the 2 jobs and it being night shift, which already just throws you for a loop and means lower quality sleep. I was literally to the point where sometimes I would be talking to somebody and it was like, you know, in a video game or something, and they say, are you falling asleep? You're falling asleep right now. And I would just be blacking in and out because of how exhausted I was. And I also had to pause and tell myself, is that really fair to my patients? Because I know I was tired like that at work too. I had once or twice that I literally almost fell over standing up because I was that tired. All of that to say, I wear a Fitbit to help me keep up with my sleep, partially because basically ever since I started night shift, I don't know, I don't feel myself tired until I'm literally at that point of I'm passing out standing up or I'm passing out when someone's talking to me. So I try to like keep up with it with the Fitbit. This isn't an endorsement or anything, by the way. I do really like Fitbit, but it's not like I'm sponsored by them. That's an idea though. Anyways, getting back to my point, I made sure that I wore this little thing every time, like basically all week, the week leading up to me switching over, and then this past week when I actually switched over to the 48 hours. And I literally went from an average of 4 hours of sleep a night to 6 hours of sleep a night, which is incredible. I feel so much better. I have not had any instances of like passing in and out. Actually, I did once when I was kind of, I guess, almost in a transition when I was up at one of my jobs, but it was only one night and I didn't have access to coffee. I think if I had had some access to drink a coffee, I might have been okay. But yes, with me being so used to not really resting properly, it felt like I was being like useless or sleeping too much, even though I was basically just sleeping. I feel like what's normal. I hear a lot of people put out the whole 8 hours a night thing, and honestly I've found that I feel best when I sleep 8 consecutive hours, but for my lifestyle it's almost never realistic. Even when I go on trips, I don't usually do that except for designated rest days because I don't know, I want to do too much. I'm still like a little 5-year-old. I'm like, I don't want to go to bed. There's too much to do. There's too much to see. But yeah, I feel like so much of the time really went to resting, which again, I know that sounds like I'm complaining, and I probably really needed the rest for myself and also for my patients, because let's be real, I work a job where I really need to be a certain mental there-ness for them and their safety, you know? But on top of like actually properly resting, I feel like I definitely had some lazy moments. I just had some moments where because I could, I just laid in bed that extra 10 minutes or scrolled through my phone that extra little bit. And that didn't feel great. I was just like, oh my gosh, Olivia, what are you doing? You have all this precious time that you were trying to give yourself to get all these things ready, and you're sitting here in bed or scrolling on your phone. So that's something I definitely need to work on. Aside from that, I was also disappointed to see just how much I was eating out. The thing is, especially being on a night shift schedule and the fact that we don't have a lot of 24-hour restaurants around here. I mean, let's see, we've got Waffle House. Hey, if you're another Southerner and you know about the Waffle House, you put it down below. I think there's waffle emojis, right? If there's a waffle emoji, put me down one below, please, if you know what I'm talking about. And besides that, you know, a couple of fast food places. But basically, after about 9, there's not much. And my waking hours kind of start at like 6 p.m. a lot of days. or 4:30, but I'm getting ready for work, so it's not the same. So essentially I don't have much opportunity to eat out even if I were to want to. So it becomes more imperative for me to do the meal planning and all the grocery shopping that I'm always sharing with you. But now that I have this extra space, instead of using it to grocery shop really good and prep up some even better meals that maybe are more time intensive, I was going to Jimmy John's before work, and we went to a Vietnamese restaurant this Sunday, which it was great, but also it's so expensive. It's ridiculous. I'm making these vlogs over here about $40 groceries, and that's hard. Oh my gosh, I should go off about restaurant prices sometime. Anyways, let's not get on a whole rant about food and restaurant prices. We're going to go ahead and set some goals for next week. Alright, so I think my positive takeaway from last week is I got plenty of rest, and I want to continue getting actual proper rest. I think a good goal for me is to try to do about 6 consecutive hours most sleep periods. I'm not going to call them nights because I barely sleep at night these days. We can go on a whole rant about like how sleep hygiene works when you're a night shift worker, especially a 12-hour night shift worker. That could be a separate video. Let me know if you would like to see that down below. So yes, continue with the increased hours of sleep. Be a better steward of my free time that I have, because I do have increased free time now. I want to make sure I am packing up because I'm going to be leaving this house soon. Oh my gosh. And also packing up for Iceland. I'm hoping to share with you everything I have packed up, so I need to make sure I have it packed in advance so I have time to also make a video about it with you. And better meal prepping, which is a great goal because that's also content. I love sharing my grocery trips with you. So we'll be coming along for a grocery trip very soon. I don't know whether or not I want to just overload you with content this week or make a grocery video this week and post it next week. We'll have to stay tuned and see. But in any case, be expecting lots more content from me. I don't know if I'll do another week's vlog for this upcoming week, but maybe we'll just do like a weekly recap where I can review how good I think I did with my goals. I think that could be fun and a good little way to do accountability. So yes, thank you so much for tuning in again or for the first time. Be sure to check out some more of my videos. If you like my content, give me a little like down below, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. Make sure you hit the bell. And that is it. I hope that your week last week was amazing and that you can find a way to make this week a little bit more amazing for yourself and those around you. We'll see each other next time, okay? Bye-bye. Hey internet bestie, you already know, or maybe you don't, that if you stay around after the credits, you're one of my internet besties. So congratulations, here's your crown. And since we are internet besties, but with boundaries, because at the end of the day, it is still the internet, I did just want to say I did have some things going on this week, personal, off-internet type of things that sucked my motivation pretty bad, and that was part of why I was not as productive as I would have liked to have been. All that to say, though, with me being down, I kind of got away from the internet for a second, and when I logged back in, sure enough, I don't get many hate comments. Usually it's not always positive. I'm not a toxic positivity person. I am okay with like real, true, just criticism or hey, I didn't like that, or this could be better. But this was just like a straight up someone being a hateful, mean person. And I responded just as respectfully as I could because I feel like that's the high road to take. Maybe 1 or 2 respectful responses and then just, okay, you go do your thing. But I had a very sweet subscriber who they said that they're like a newer subscriber. I'm going to call you out. I hope that doesn't bother you. Huntress Thompson 88. And this person is like, oh my gosh, it's actually could even be a good sign that you have people who are taking time out of their day to be hateful like that. And they just, left me some encouraging words about don't let it get to you. And I was already a little bit proud of myself because even with me being a little bit down with the things I had going on, I was able to not let it affect me too badly, although it did kind of feel like I'm already having bad things and then this. And just having someone else take their time to reach out and be like, hey, it's okay, girl. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate everybody's support. It is exciting how the channel's been growing. I know I say that at the end of almost every video, but it's because I mean it. And yes, this is already becoming a very long outro. So thank you to everybody. Y'all are amazing. Leave me a cute emoji down below and we'll see each other next time. Bye bye.